God's Word Express.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're opening up a really vital part of what it means to build a truly resilient life of faith.
We are. We're getting into a teaching series all about a strong Christian foundation.
And today's focus is on something everyone faces: trials, testing, temptations. We're drawing on some really powerful insights from Pastor Dr. Cave-In.
Yeah, this is a big one.
So our mission really is to give you a kind of roadmap for getting through adversity. And we're starting with this great metaphor from the source material.
The spiritual exam.
Exactly. Trials are like spiritual exams. If you sign up for a class, you know a test is coming.
You don't get your diploma by avoiding the final. Right. You get it by passing it.
And that's the crucial reframing, isn't it? Trials aren't some strange anomaly.
Not at all. They're fundamental. If you're pursuing any kind of growth, tests are just a normal, regular part of the deal. They're basically prerequisites for moving forward.
So the goal isn't to avoid them.
The goal is victory over testing. And, if you ask why these tests are even necessary, it all comes back to Romans 1.1 scene. The righteous shall live by faith.
Right. So if faith is the currency of our growth, then trials are fundamentally designed to test the quality of that faith. They're pressure tests on what you say you believe.
Okay, so that brings us immediately to the most practical and I think the most confusing question for so many people.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
If I'm facing all this pressure, financial strain, conflict at home, personal doubt, how do I know where it's coming from? Is this from God or from something else?
That discernment is key. And the sources give us two very distinct possibilities for the origin of the test. First, there's testing from God.
Okay.
When God initiates a test, his intention is always, always redemptive. He actually wants you to pass.
So he's not trying to trip you up?
No. He tests your faith to produce endurance, to make you stronger, and ultimately to elevate you.
All right, so what's the second source?
The second is temptation from the enemy, or Satan. And his objective is the complete opposite.
To make you fail. To make you fail. He tests your faith specifically to lure you into sin, to cause you to fall, and to give up on the whole journey.
So if a situation is pushing me toward, say, lying on a report or feeling bitterness, that's probably temptation.
Exactly. You look at the fruit. Is it leading to a downfall?
And if the situation demands that I just hold on, be patient, and lean on Scripture for a really long time, that's more likely God's refining work.
That's the most reliable distinction, yes. Temptation targets your weakness to make you fall. Testing targets your strength to make it more durable.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
This is the profound insight from Dr. Cave-In. Ultimately, the source. It doesn't matter as much as your response.
Wow. Okay, that's a game changer. Because it shifts the focus away from, trying to figure out who sent it.
And puts it back on your agency, your choice. Think of it like this. Are you taking a government exam or a final from your professor?
The required response is the same either way.
Exactly. You still have to study. You still have to apply your knowledge. The enemy might deliver the pressure, but we're the ones held accountable for how we act under it.
You always have to choose that correct, faith-filled response.
Which you can't do without something solid underneath you.
Right. And this leads us straight into this idea of a rooted faith. It's not enough to just be excited about an idea.
Absolutely not. The sources use this analogy of faith as a tree, the roots. They represent a deep, real understanding. Commitment.
Not just that initial surface-level joy you feel when you hear a good sermon.
That's just emotional enthusiasm. It's temporary. It's the depth of the root system that determines if you'll survive the storm.
Luke 8.33 talks about this, right?
It does. It warns about those who hear the word with joy but have no root. And when the testing comes, and it will come, they fall away.
Which means they had the knowledge, maybe, or the feeling.
But they never committed to that daily, unseen process of building real conviction.
I think we've all seen this. The moment life gets hard, or that pressure hits, the surface-level faith just vanishes.
So trials act as this necessary filter. They confirm if your faith is on bedrock or just on sand.
So you can study for years, but if you don't apply it during the test,
the knowledge is useless. The test forces the application. It's the difference between reading a survival manual and, actually being dropped in the wilderness.
The wilderness shows if the knowledge has become instinct.
That's it.
That is so powerful. Okay, so let's talk about the support system we have while we're in that wilderness. Let's shift to 1 Corinthians 10.13. It's probably one of the most quoted verses on this topic.
And for good reason. It offers two massive anchors of encouragement.
What's the first one?
The first anchor is universality. You are not alone. The verse says, no test is happening to you except what is common to mankind.
Meaning this isn't some weird, unprecedented thing.
Right. It means two things. One, whatever you're going through, other people have been through it and they've passed. And two, the trial will not be bigger than your current capacity. God isn't giving a university final exam to a first grader. The difficulty is calibrated to your spiritual maturity.
So that eliminates the excuse of, I just can't handle this.
It does. According to this, the test has been vetted, it's a standard trial, and you have the foundational strength to pass it.
So what's the second anchor in that verse? It's about the path of escape, which I think can be misunderstood.
It's so often misunderstood. We think it means God will just magically pull us out of the situation.
A trap door.
Yeah, a trapdoor. But the sources clarified the original Greek word here, which is ekbasis.
Ekbasis.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really mean escape route. It more accurately means an outcome, an endpoint, or an end result.
So not a way to flee the test.
But a promise that the test has a predetermined expiration date. The suffering is finite.
And that changes everything.
It really does. The promise isn't that you won't suffer, but that your suffering is temporary. It has a structure. And just knowing there's an endpoint gives you the stamina to keep going.
And the pastor's personal story here just drives that point home with incredible force.
Oh, it's unbelievable. He faced this massive, crippling debt. 30 million bet.
A sum that would just devastate anyone. And it wasn't even his debt.
Right. And this went on for 5 agonizing years. He had to walk through it. He couldn't just flee.
But he knew there would be an end, an ekbasis.
Exactly. And he describes so vividly the moment it came, tearing up these huge stacks of checks on a bridge on his drive home. That physical act was the end of the trial. That's the promise.
Knowing there's an end date allows you to say, okay, I can endure this.
It makes it bearable.
Which shifts our whole perspective. If we can endure, we can start to focus on the rewards of passing. So what are the ultimate benefits?
The first, and maybe the most common one we talk about, is refining and strengthening.
The fire that refines gold.
That's the one. The high heat of adversity isn't there to destroy the metal. It's there to burn away the impurities.
The slag.
And in spiritual terms, what is that slag? That's a great question. The slag is often our selfishness, our pride, our impatience, our self-reliance.
The stuff we don't see when life is easy.
Exactly. High pressure reveals your true character. Do you complain and blame, or do you stay steady? James 1 is so clear about this. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. It builds spiritual muscle.
Okay, so that's the first benefit. What's the second one?
The second is honor and promotion. And this isn't about earthly titles. It's about spiritual capacity.
Like a blacksmith hammering metal to make it stronger.
Or how pressure turns carbon into a diamond. Endurance doesn't just make you tougher. It expands your capacity for more.
So promotion in this sense means more responsibility.
Correct. Those who pass major trials, they gain greater honor, more influence. The source material uses a fantastic corporate analogy.
Yeah.
A high-ranking manager who's proven trustworthy gets a business class ticket. A junior employee flies economy. It's not about luxury. It's about the level of trust and responsibility they've earned.
Passing tests proves you're a reliable steward for bigger things.
And Romans 5 lays out that beautiful chain reaction. Distress leads to endurance, endurance to character, and character to this unshakable hope.
That's a powerful progression. Okay, so we're refined, we're promoted. What's the third benefit?
This one is huge. It's the ability to comfort and encourage others.
So our suffering isn't just for us.
Never. 2 Corinthians says we're comforted in our distress so that we can comfort others going through the same thing.
It gives the pain a purpose beyond just our own growth.
It absolutely does. And the personal stories from the pastor really underscore this. Because he went through that massive debt, because he was slandered, because he was cheated until he had almost nothing left.
He has an authority to speak into those situations now.
An authentic authority. He can counsel someone deep in debt with real credibility. He can talk to people struggling with immense guilt because he's been in the pit himself and found the way out. Only tested leaders can offer comfort that truly, truly lands.
That connection between suffering and authority is just undeniable. So that's 3. Is there a fourth benefit?
There is. And it might be the most transformative of all. It's a focus shift from the temporal to the eternal.
How does that work?
Trials have this strange way of sweeping away all the trivial stuff we chase. Social status, comfort, accumulating wealth.
Hardship forces you to reevaluate what actually matters.
It does. Colossians 3 says to set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. When money is tight or your health is failing, you suddenly realize what's truly important.
Family, real friendships, your spiritual life.
Yes. The pastor gives this example of how the hardship forced him to prioritize time with his kids and his loyal friends. He stopped caring what other people thought. He even says he would sometimes delay counting the offering envelopes because his focus had just shifted so far away from money.
That's a profound change. These benefits really do reframe the entire experience of a trial.
It's mandatory for spiritual maturity.
So giving that, it might help to just briefly categorize the types of struggles people might be facing because they come in all shapes and sizes.
They do, but they all require that same response. Perseverance. We can basically group them into a few areas.
Go for it.
First, you've got the internal struggles. This is the battle in your own mind. Doubt when prayers aren't answered, guilt, unworthiness, or just overwhelming fear and worry about the future.
Then there are the relational conflicts.
Right, the trials in how we deal with other people, marital problems, issues with kids or parents, pressure from family who don't believe, even conflict inside the church, gossip, feeling overlooked.
And the third would be the external stuff.
External or circumstantial tests, yeah. This is the crisis that the world throws at you. Financial problems, losing your job, a business failing, a health crisis.
And the sources gave that amazing example of his son Jeffy getting sick.
A really serious illness. Surgery was going to cost a fortune, but the family just stood on their faith, they prayed intensely, and the disease just vanished.
A miraculous outcome to an external test.
Exactly. And maybe we can add a fourth category. Ethical and lifestyle temptations. The pressure to take a bribe, to lie, to make a sale, sexual temptation, burnout in ministry.
But for all of them, the summary is the same.
The summary is the same. The proper response is endurance, sticking to what you know is true and trusting in that coming ekbasis, that end date.
Passing these tests leads to blessing, promotion, and a richer spiritual life.
That's the goal.
This has really, I think, reframed the whole idea of adversity. It's not about punishment, it's about training.
It's a fundamental perspective shift. We have to accept that trials are necessary for growth and honor.
And one last piece of wisdom from the source we should remember. While we have to be ready to endure, we're also taught to pray for peace.
We are. The best case scenario is always peace and blessing. We should ask to avoid unnecessary suffering.
But if the test arrives,
We endure with purpose.
we'll leave you with that perspective for today. Today, we too are signing off. God bless you.